I'm being, you're good. Everyone's like, why are you even doing that? It's like, I don't care, but I was like, and I feel weird because I haven't worn one in so long.
Mindy has a baby Yoda mask she wears.
Yes.
I got that wrong.
You did.
You.
I haven't put it in a while. Okay. I just gonna say hi. Good to see you later. Seen you forever. I know. Y'all take care.
See ya. All right, launch meeting. Got it. Five people are there in the waiting room. Who we got? We got the jail. We got Claudia. We got Anthony. We got Tony. And we have Sherry. We let everybody in. We're done, right?
Well, we're not done yet.
We are.
Good morning.
What are you doing? Are you doing both of these? Sherry? She's not muted. No.
Okay,
Jesus.
now I can hear y'all.
You can hear us now?
Yeah, I'm sorry, my volume was down.
Oh. Are you doing both of them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who do you want to do first?
Yeah, I don't care. Let's do Tamara. She's mine.
Tamara?
Yeah.
You wanna do it-
Royals.
You want to do it today? Come on.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, fine.
You know, it's been a while since I've had you. I forget you're this way.
I'm denying that ever happened.
Yes. I try to forget it ever happened.
Okay, let's start over.
Good morning.
What happened?
All right, you Miss Royals?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you would raise your right hand and be sworn. You swear or affirm testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, so be God.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I do have a copy of the mental health assessment. I'm going to consider it for the purpose of this hearing. I'm assuming you wanted to call your client to testify.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You can go ahead.
Okay. Tamara, are you a person with mental illness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is your diagnosis?
Bipolar, schizophrenic, and depression.
Okay. And where do you receive services?
I was receiving I was receiving at JPS in Fort Worth through, but normally it was LifeNet, Metro
Life
Care.
Path? Okay.
No, Metro Care and LifeNet changed
Okay.
over.
Okay. And where will you be residing if you're released?
At my auntie's house on 1805 Lake Tawakoni, Allen, Texas, 75002.
Okay. And you realize that that's in the Collin County area, and Life Path is the mental health authority in Collin County.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you'll need to go through Life Path, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you know the rules. You need to check in with Miss Tony once a week. You need to check in with this court once a month. You need to get into services, stay into services, and whatever other conditions that are required for your mental health. Is that what you understand you're supposed to be doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are you requesting this judge to give you a mental health bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Any questions from the state?
Just a few, Your Honor. Miss Royals, do you have, or what access to transportation would you have while you live with your aunt?
They have 5 cars. Actually, one was for me. I can use one, or they'll just be taking me around, picking me up.
And do you have your driver's license?
I do, and they're up to date. They're not what you call it?
Suspended.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
they're good.
And since you've been in jail, have you been receiving medication?
Yes, I have.
And do you feel like that's helping you?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the state?
Your Honor, I'd just like to read her criminal history into the record, please.
Okay.
In 1991, she was arrested for possession of cocaine, sentenced to 8 years probation. Later on in 1992, she was arrested again for delivery of cocaine, and she was given 5 years TDC, and she was revoked on her 1991 charge and also given 5 years. In 1994, she was arrested for engaging in organized criminal activity, but we have no prosecution or court data. In 1999, she was arrested for robbery, and we have, I believe it was dropped down or reduced to a misdemeanor theft, and where she was given 6 months in the county jail. In 2002, she was arrested for theft of property with previous convictions, when there's no court or prosecution data on those. In 2004, again, she was arrested on theft of property with 2 more previous convictions and sentenced to 180 days in state jail. In 2011, she was again arrested for theft of property with 2 more previous convictions and sentenced to 90 days state jail. In 2011, she was arrested for theft of property with 2 more previous convictions. And she was sentenced to 2 years confinement, but probated for 5 years. In 2011, again, she was also arrested for possession of a controlled substance, category 1, and sentenced to 2 years confinement that was probated for 5 years. In 2012, she was arrested again for theft of property with 2 more previous convictions, sentenced again to 2 years, probated for 5. In 2013, she was arrested again for robbery with no prosecution or court data available. In 2015, she was arrested for prostitution and sentenced to 36 days in jail. In 2016, she was arrested in theft of property with 2 more previous convictions and sentenced to 3 years deferred. And then in 2018, in 2019, she was arrested again for possession of a controlled substance, category 1, and the prosecution rejected those charges. In 2019, she was also arrested for resisting arrest and sentenced to 30 days. And then in 2021, she was arrested for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. And the prosecutor's office rejected that charge. And then in 2022, she was arrested in January for theft and resisting. And we have no prosecution data on those. And the state rests at this time.
Any argument from the state?
Due to her defendant's criminal history, we would oppose a PR bond at this time.
Yeah, I mean, the criminal history is just too much, so I'm going to deny bond this time. Good luck.
Thank you, Judge. Tomorrow I'll come see you.
Do you know when?
Probably tomorrow.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. Byrd.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anthony Keith Byrd, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And did you want to call your client to testify?
Yes, Your Honor. I would also like to put it on the record that I am standing in for Ms. Haywood, who is in another court.
Okay.
So,
All right. Mr. Byrd, if you would raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, so be God?
Yes.
Mr. Byrd, do I have your permission to represent you in this hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you a person with mental illness?
Yes, kind of actually newly finding that out.
Okay. Okay. And is your desire to be released and go to some sort of rehab?
Yes, ma'am. I understand I'm supposed to be going to Turtle Creek or something like that in Dallas.
Okay.
Treatment.
And that's what you want to do, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you'll follow any recommendations from Turtle Creek or from Life Path, who you were going to go through to get your mental health services and rehab. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you have transportation to come back and forth to court and any other meetings that you might need to do?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you have a place to live?
Yes, ma'am. In Princeton.
In Princeton. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And will you be living with somebody else or by yourself?
No, I'll be living with somebody else.
Okay. family member, or I'm just trying to give the court some idea
yes.
if you have support.
Yes, right now it's a friend of mine that I've known for about 15 years. She's
Okay.
helping me. She's the one who
Okay.
helps me out in here, actually.
Okay. And you realize that if the mental health bond is granted, you will have to check in with Miss Tony every week, and then check in with this court, who's also on, check in with this court once a month.
Yeah, I do understand that from Mr. Hill. He said you don't have a bonds person, you have a case person.
Right.
So,
That's
yes.
that's Miss Fox. Okay, Tony.
Okay. I do understand that, yes.
Okay. And so are you requesting that this court allow you to be released on a mental health bond as soon as a bed opens up in a rehab facility?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I want to go from here to a rehab.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the way. That's the reason why I worded it that way. As soon as a
Okay.
bed. Anyway, I passed the witness.
The paperwork shows homeward bound. Is that what you understand as a rehab?
Yes, it was, I believe it was next bed available. So Homeward Bound or Turtle Creek or something like that in Dallas. Yes.
Is that what you have, Tony?
I was notified that he has a hold for another county, so
Oh.
we can't send him from here straight to rehab.
What-
I don't
what
think
is
I
it?
have a hold for a county. I have a parole hold or something like that. I think it's what it would be. I don't have anything in any other county.
Okay. Anyway, does the state have any questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. When did you first get diagnosed with your mental health issues?
I first got diagnosed with PTSD and stuff like that in anxiety state jail at I think it's about 2016, 17, and by a doctor in state jail. And then just getting out of TDC, I was going through Lakes Regional Medical in the Hopkins County area, and I didn't ever really get a whole lot done with it. I went to a few meetings with them and stuff like that, and I just didn't get very far with it. And then from meeting with the people here and talking to them and some stuff that they've helped me with, that's when I really learned a lot more about it here.
And were you given any medication, or have you been prescribed medication in the past?
I have in the past. It wasn't very successful, but the lady here, the stuff that she suggested here has been working pretty good.
So you've been receiving medication while you've been in jail?
Yes.
Okay, and you do feel like it's helping you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the state?
Just, I would like to read his criminal history into the record, Your Honor.
Okay.
In 2007, he was arrested for theft by check and sentenced to 9 months deferred. In 2014, he was arrested for Mandel, the controlled substance penalty group 1. That was reduced to a possession of a controlled substance category 1, and he was given 7 years deferred. He was later revoked and sentenced to 4 years TDC. And then in 2015, he was arrested for false report to a police officer and given 2 years probation, and he was eventually revoked on that 2 years later, or at the end of it, and given 120 days in county jail. In 2015, he was arrested for possession of a controlled substance category 1, and he was sentenced to 4 years deferred. He was eventually revoked and convicted and spent 12 months in TDC. In 2018, he was arrested for possession of a controlled substance penalty group 1 and given 7 years deferred. He was eventually revoked and sentenced to 5 years TDC. And then in 2021, he was arrested for bail jumping and failure to appear. And that case was dismissed by the prosecutor's office before he was arrested on his numerous cases we are here on today. The state rests.
Any argument from the state?
Due to just number of charges he currently has pending and his criminal history, we would oppose a PR bond at this time.
Yeah, your criminal history is just too much, and the fact that you're going to wind up going to another county anyway, I think you're not going to get into the rehab that we were trying to set up. So once that holds gone, maybe we can reconsider this. But as far as right now, I'm not going to deny a bond. Good luck. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Got to see you later.